Welcome to the Sam and Joe VA Show, where we teach women just like you how to start and scale a thriving virtual assistant business.
We're your hosts, Sam and Joe, and get ready to have the control, flexibility, and freedom you've always dreamed of.
Welcome to episode 135, surprising aha moments from 134 episodes.
This whole episode is a surprise, actually. I don't think that we would ever have thought that we'd be recording that, because the reason why we first started the podcast was to share our knowledge with aspiring and established virtual assistants. Little did we know that we'd actually be teaching ourselves some stuff too.
Yeah, quite a lot of things. Like, we have quite a long list of things that we like. They might be a lesson or just a learning, or are like, wow, I couldn't believe that is a thing.
Yeah, and even stuff that we've learned about each other from just having chats about
So
random
many
things.
hours, Sam. So many hours talking together.
Ah, keeping the relationship alive with talking and communicating. We're still learning about each other, Joe, after what, almost
Coming up 3 years.
3 years doing this.
Yeah.
Every Friday, sitting down and chatting and learning. Great.
All right, let's kick off the list. What's our number one, Sam?
So, my number one, anyway, I don't know if this is your number one, but it was such a ha-ha moment for me when we were recording, it was episode 116, Think Twice About Becoming a VA If, and we started talking about having really strong communication skills being a necessary part of your skill set for a successful virtual assistant. And in that discussion, we realized that all of the virtual assistants that we know personally who are at the top of their game, they are fully booked, they've got wait lists, they're reaching their financial goals, they're really happy with the clients that they take on. They are all amazing communicators across various different comms channels. So it's not that they're just really good to talk to, either in person or in a Zoom meeting, but they are really good in Facebook groups, communicating well when they're behind their keyboard. So they're communicating well via email with their clients. All the channels. So all of those really, really successful virtual assistants that we know personally are amazing communicators.
Communication is key. It is the number one thing that if you're really good at, you can be successful. It's required every single day in your VA business.
So that bit wasn't surprising. Like, we've known that for years, right? But the surprising bit was, like, if we think about all of those super successful VAs that we personally know, not one of them is a bad communicator. That was the aha moment. Like, holy cow.
Yeah. Another one that I found really like, wow, that's actually a thing, is just how many virtual assistants have had some previous workplace trauma, like real trauma. Because I
Yeah.
haven't had a terrible experience in a workplace before, and I don't think you have either, have you, Sam?
No, that was a real eye-opener for me. Like, I think we'd heard stories from some virtual assistants about having shitty bosses and bad experiences in terms of teammates. And I don't want to say that we were dismissive of it, but it wasn't until talking to Gina Hubbard on that particular episode where it's like, oh, this is a thing.
Yeah. And many of our members in the members club have now talked about their trauma that they've had in workplaces as well. So thanks to Gina for opening our eyes to this in podcast episode 113.
Yeah, it was a really good conversation starter. As you said, like, it wasn't until that podcast episode came out that other virtual assistants then felt more safe to share their own workplace trauma experiences. Yeah,
Yeah.
big eye-opener.
Mm.
Okay. My next one would be, it's another one from the Gina Hubbard episode. And that's when Gina shared with us all that we need to plan to fail. So then when we do fail, because we do, it's life. You're going to fail at something, right? But
Yep.
if we plan for it, then it isn't going to then make us dive into a deep depression or start questioning all of our decisions that we've ever made in life.
Mm. Yeah, because if you expect that you're gonna fail, then it's not so harsh when you do, right?
Yeah, and I think it was just the way that Gina spoke about it. I think up until that point, I'd never thought of it because I work really hard at finding the good and the positive in all the situations, and I'm big, as you are, Joe, on, like, visualizing the outcome that you want. I guess I've always thought, well, if you start planning to fail, are you then setting
Mm.
yourself up to fail?
Mhm.
And I was like,
Mhm.
"No,
And
you're
manifesting
not."
that. Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the lesson for me. It's like, "No, you're not.
Mm.
It's actually a good thing."
Yeah. She talked about, failure being a made up word. You
Yes.
just made that word up, and it's actually just an opportunity to learn a lesson.
Yeah, yeah. So
So that was
how would you live differently if that just didn't exist in your universe, just that? Because for some of us, that fear of failure does hold us back, doesn't it? Oh my god, there's no
absolutely.
way I'm gonna attempt that because what if it doesn't work out?
Mhm.
Ooh,
Yeah.
so interesting. Such a great conversation. That whole episode, my god, already there was 2 aha moments from that episode.
In that episode, I was like just intently listening, leaning forward, just being like, wow, wow, this is amazing. So if you haven't listened to that episode, 113 with Gina Hubbard, I recommend that you do.
Mm.
All right, the next one for me is that we always thought that like pricing would be the number one struggle for virtual assistants, what their rate's going to be, how to create packages, like how to price
Mhm.
themselves, like, getting paid what you're worth, all of that kind of stuff. But actually, throughout this whole journey of the last 3 years, we've realized that the biggest struggle is having boundaries.
Yeah, so this isn't one particular episode that we kind of came to this conclusion, but absolutely, I reckon for a good couple of years, Joe, we were dead set certain that was the number one struggle for virtual assistants.
Hmm.
But it ain't. Just all of the various conversations in the episodes and our own learnings and growth definitely made us realize it's those boundaries. They sneak
Mhm.
up on us, those sneaky
Mhm.
boundaries.
Mm. And having the confidence to set them, to stick to them, to communicate them. Yeah, boundaries is key for having a business that you enjoy and don't fall out of love with, and it gives you the lifestyle that you were after, that freedom, flexibility, and control that you wanted when you first started your business. It's what we all want, right? Those boundaries, they have to be in place, otherwise that can
Mhm.
start slipping through your fingers.
And the type of virtual assistant that is gonna struggle with boundaries the most are the people pleasers,
Mm.
and we know quite a few. I hello, recovering people pleaser right here, for sure.
Mm. Yeah.
Episode 118, so a relatively recent one, Just Be Honest. Now, the kind of inspiration for sitting down and recording this particular episode was we came to the realization that virtual assistants were holding back from being honest. Some virtual assistants were holding back from being honest about major things going on in their lives, like major. So, the particular story that we shared was a virtual assistant that didn't feel comfortable sharing that she was expecting a baby and she would be going to hospital and needing a well, in her mind, she just thought it would be like a day off and everything would be fine. I shocked. This shocked
Mhm.
me. This shocked me that, and it's actually also really upsetting. Like, we can kind of laugh about it a wee bit, but it's actually really sad that there are virtual assistants out there that don't feel as though they can be honest about stuff like this.
Mhm. And having to assume that they have to just keep working and that
Yeah,
they would just have a day off. Like, it was heartbreaking
yeah,
to, realize or to hear that that's how she felt.
yeah.
And, we're both mums, so we know how traumatic childbirth can be and how unexpected things can happen. You cannot plan how it's gonna go or how you're gonna be or how you're gonna recover. You
Mm,
can't plan that.
no. So I think, Joe, I don't know if you'd agree with me that, yeah, we very much aware that there is stuff that some virtual assistants hold back from their clients, rightly or wrongly, it just happens. But that was the shocking bit, that
Mhm.
that type of thing was being held back due to not wanting to have an uncomfortable conversation, or not trusting that the client is going to be open to that thing that you're sharing with them.
Yeah, it's just a fear of losing that client, right, and not having the money coming in. Yeah, can hold us
Yeah.
back from being honest.
Whew. Boy, that was a
All
tough one.
right.
Yeah.
Was. The next one for me was the realization in episode 131. So super recently, treat yourself. And realizing that what I'd inadvertently done by driving the crappy car that we have versus the like sign written really nice modern car was that I was potentially holding myself back from manifesting money goals, abundance, and that
Mm.
whole kind of abundant mindset. I was holding myself back from that by choosing to drive the crappy car. So I haven't driven it since.
You have I was gonna ask you, so you had that moment, but did you actually then do something about it?
Yeah, I went and switched cars and I'm now driving the nice car.
And how does it feel? Like, does it feel different?
Yeah, much better. Yeah. Yeah. I feel a lot more abundant. I like driving the car. It makes me happy. Yeah. Whole
Ah,
mindset is changed.
that's awesome.
Mm.
There we go.
Yeah.
That was a big aha moment. Um, this is my next one is a funny one. Like, these are all genuine aha moments, but for me, in the moment talking about it, like, you blew my mind. Like, I was absolutely shocked to my core. I had no idea that my head was buried so deeply in the sand around this topic. The episode was an early one, episode number 70, 10 red flags you should never ignore when recruiting. Um, and it was that moment at the beginning, Joe, where you were like, Sam, you need to stop telling people that you don't have a team, because you do. They may not be client facing team members, but it's still a team.
Yeah,
And
you have a
I
bookkeeper, social media person
yeah, I
supporting you, doing a role for you, right?
how ridiculous is it that that hadn't even occurred to me? Ridiculous. Like, I'm
Your poor
almost
team
embarrassed.
members. Poor team members. I
Poor
hope they
team
said
members.
something to you afterwards.
No one did. I don't think they listen.
Oh, okay.
But that was almost that aha moment was almost embarrassing.
Mm. Yeah, 'cause a team is not defined just by those who you have employed to work with you, right?
Mm,
It's
mm.
wider than that, and we can't do business alone. No one can be a successful business owner alone. You have to have some kind of team, whether it's contractors or external advisors or employees. They're all team.
The good thing that came out of that, though, is I think that then made us realize that, okay, if I wasn't aware of that, like, if I hadn't made that realization, then there has got to be other virtual assistants out there, whether just starting out or established, that probably haven't made that connection either. So then when we
Mm,
started talking about it outside of the podcast, it was like, oh, yeah, okay, there are definitely other virtual assistants that hadn't realized. So it was
mm,
so great to then be able to talk about that more in our coaching calls and things like that.
mm,
Yeah, it was
mm.
a mindset shift that we had no idea needed to be made.
All right, next one is I didn't really think that I was that woo-woo, and you might not have thought that you were that woo-woo 'cause it just has become kind of just a natural part of our lifestyle, our being, having woo-woo things around, thinking in a woo-woo kind of way. And then we had the episode 128, Why We Love the Woo-woo. And then we started to like kind of list through the things that we do, we've experienced. We actually have a lot of woo-woo in our life, in the way we
Yeah,
live.
I don't think we realized how long that list would be until we sat down and put it together. It was definitely the episode that we didn't know needed to be made.
Yeah, and it was so popular. Everyone loved it. And they
Loved
learned so much inside it. And I think too, it opened up the conversation for others who you never really know how the woo-woo kind of stuff or spiritual stuff is going to be received. And
Yeah.
so by opening up that conversation, we had virtual assistants reaching out and just saying, "Oh, this is so amazing that you're like into this as well," because it's often something we don't bring up naturally in conversation.
Yeah, I don't think we had like, you and I had never had that conversation.
No, no.
And I think that was probably one of the reasons. I mean, I think you knew occasionally you'd see me, like, with a crystal, and
Yeah, yeah.
occasionally you'd see me with, like, rolling stuff on, but I don't think I it's not that I thought that you would judge me, but I didn't think that you were doing your own different woo-woo things
Mm,
because it was
mm,
something that you never talked about.
mm.
And Mark, like, my Mark, the most un-woo-woo human being that you will meet. Like, we've talked about the fact that Mark is all about the science.
Mm.
It's gotta have a research paper on it for him to, to believe it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I think his response to that episode when I was sharing, "Oh my god, virtual assistants, our community loved this episode." He still thinks it's ridiculous. Like, I've still got eye rolls. But that
Did he
was
listen to the episode and then he was like, "Nah."
Oh, yeah, he listened to some of it, like our little kind of, like, audio snippets and stuff, and it must have caught his attention when I was playing
Mm.
it because we work side by side in the office, and I could tell that it got his attention, and he turned his chair towards me, and I was like, "What on earth are you talking about?" Yeah. So that was the only bit
Oh.
of bad feedback I personally received from that episode, but I expect more from him. I totally
It
expect
doesn't count. It
he
doesn't count.
doesn't count, he doesn't
No.
count. Is it me? Am I next?
It is
It
you.
is. Oh, it's from the same episode, my next one. So
Mhm.
it's Why We Love the Woo Woo. I was shocked to learn in that episode, Joe Jensen, that you lived out of your car in your 20s.
Essentially, I still had houses that I stayed at, lived at, but I had a lot of stuff in my car that I drove around with me and got changed in my car and, yeah, went to work, got changed, had my work stuff in there,
So it wasn't
went
just
out
like
partying.
changes of clothes, like it was toiletries and the whole shebang.
Oh, yeah, I had a stereo on my back seat, which was one of the things that got stolen, which I don't even know why I would have a stereo in the back seat. So my whole back seat just covered with stuff.
Is that
Yeah.
why? Because if rumors are to be believed, your car can still be like that at times? Do you think that's just
I have turned a corner, Sam. I have changed my ways. My car is now immaculate, and my house too. I Something clicked in me, I think, and I've realized how bad that was for my headspace.
Yeah.
You feel it too when you're like things are messy around you. It's not good for your headspace. And so I think I turned 40. Turning 40 was a big turning point for me this year. And yeah, now I'm like, nope, I'm a tidy person and I'm going to keep my car tidy.
So, 40s that hit you. See, yeah,
Yeah.
I've been like that. I've known that about me 20s, I reckon. 20s. 'Cause
Mm,
if I have clutter anywhere around me, it
yeah.
literally makes me anxious.
Yeah.
And you've seen me, like, we'll sit down and the mornings, that I'm feeling that way
Yeah.
because literally we'll be talking and I'll be just like busy
All I
around the
can
desk.
hear is ripping paper, just ripping constantly, all of
Yeah.
this paper, lots of hand movements.
Yes. Yeah. And then once it's done and at least that kind of that few meters around me is done, it's like then I
Yeah.
can breathe and then I can give you all the attention. But up until then, it's like if I wasn't doing that tidying, I'd just be sitting here just going.
All right. The next one was a really cool one for me when we sat down in episode 91, my $1 million virtual assistant business, and we went to record that and not actually knowing that we had just ticked over the $1 million in revenue in my VA business was like such an awesome realization. Loved that. I knew it was
Yeah.
coming, but to actually know that it had been achieved and done was a very cool feeling.
That was so exciting to be part of that. Even though it's not my money, it's not my hard work that's that's played any part in that win of yours, that
Mhm.
milestone, but
Yeah.
just being part of that moment was just so exciting, and I just like, even in the moment, I just knew that it would be inspiring to so many virtual assistants
Mm.
that want that too. I mean, it is an achievable goal.
Yeah, I think that's the like it's been done. It's proven to be done, and I hope that is really inspiring for those listening. Because it can be a little daunting for people hearing that number, and some people may not even ever want to get to that point. Because trust me,
Oh,
it
no.
takes a lot of hard work and stress to get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope it was inspiring that it is possible. Whatever financial goals and dreams that you have, that it's possible.
Yeah, that was a great moment. I think it's
Mm.
not often that I know I have ever seen you genuinely shocked about something. It's like it doesn't happen often. Normally, you're pretty cool, calm, and collected, but
Yeah.
that was a genuine, "Oh my god," reaction. So it was awesome. It was awesome to
Mm.
see. You are human, Joe Jensen. Fancy that.
I am. Yeah,
Human.
I've got emotions come out sometimes.
Um, Another big aha moment for me was when we were talking about scope creep. So that's episode
Mhm.
123, how to prevent scope creep. And when we were researching um, prior to recording this episode, we came across a term that I definitely hadn't heard of. Joe, had
Oh,
you?
no, I hadn't
No.
heard it either.
Gold plating. Gold plating is not good, and it's detrimental to your bottom line, to your profits, and it's
Mhm.
something that's absolutely under your control because you were the one doing the gold plating.
Mhm. It's that, like, just tweaking, 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 and trying to get to this unachievable perfection, but continually improving, improving, improving a project. Maybe it's a website, a logo, or something, and you're just gold plating it, which just eats into your profits every time you do a little bit of gold plating. And it's not necessary,
Yes.
not expected, it's not something that you should be doing.
Yes, because when you talk about gold plating, it's not when you're working on a project and you've got it to a point where it's so-so. That's not gold plating
Mm.
when you're still working on it.
Yeah.
It's when you've got it to a point where the client is gonna be over the moon with it, but it's your perfectionism and you wanting to provide even more and even better and bigger to your client that means that you
Mm.
just can't stop tweaking. So
Mm.
it's actually a skill, especially for creative virtual assistants, to know when to stop.
Yes, definitely.
Because often less is more. Less is more for creative virtual assistants, and knowing when, hey, you've got to stop adding to something. So scope creep, great episode. What are you doing, Joe? You've disappeared and you've come back.
I'll come back. My laptop wasn't charging. It was telling me it was gonna stop. We're good, everyone, we're good.
Back to it.
All right. Another one kind of realization that I had was that because this is not what I did, it's the opposite. that you can get fully booked as a virtual assistant without leaving your home.
Joe!
What? What?
See,
What about all those networking meetings?
I am shocked that this is on your aha list.
Yeah.
Because how long have you known me? And you know my story, and you know that I've been very open with the fact that I've never done any networking.
Didn't believe you. Didn't believe it was possible. You must have done something networking out there, going to meetings,
Do you
surely.
honestly do you think part of you honestly didn't believe me?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes. But I've heard more and more and more virtual assistants get fully booked and only do that online and using social media or LinkedIn. Like, that was not on my radar when I first started. Social media, I was like, "Nah, that's not how you get clients. You get out and you meet people, you meet real business owners, and you make real face-to-face relationships."
I mean, okay, there's no doubt about it. That is absolutely a strategy that works really, really well.
Totally,
Yeah,
that's how we got
yeah,
fully booked, yeah.
yeah. But it
Yeah.
is not the only way.
It is not the only way.
I can't believe you didn't believe me. Did you think I was exaggerating it? Like, deep down,
Yeah, I think so.
she wouuld have she's gone to something.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you were exaggerating it, that's what I thought, yeah.
it's hilarious. 'Cause you know how often I bitch and moan when people don't believe my advice. And you're one of them, Joe.
Yeah,
You're
sorry about
one of
that.
them. Jesus. Okay, I've gotta move on from that. I don't know how soon I can forgive you. Um, right, another aha shocking moment for me was when we released the episode about no rollovers, episode 101, no rollovers. I had assumed that only new virtual assistants didn't know that no rollovers of unused hours was a thing.
Mm,
I assumed that all of our established virtual assistants in our community that we know, that we love, that are doing really, really well, had this policy in place. And it turns out, after releasing this episode, that they don't.
mm.
Mind officially blown.
Comes back to those boundaries again, right?
Yeah.
No rollovers, except on the odd occasion. Remember our episode that was the most painful episode ever? But generally, no rollovers. Don't allow your clients to get lazy with giving you work, right? And
Yeah.
make sure that you're communicating really well. You know, back our very first one, great communication. Be a good communicator, because you can run a business without any rollovers.
Yeah. Come on,
Awesome.
established virtual assistants. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, big aha moment that so many virtual assistants were doing that. Mm.
I don't feel as though we're ever gonna be able to stop talking about no rollovers now.
It's a hashtag now, it's official.
It's official.
All right, next one. Oh, this pains me. There are virtual assistants, and we did not realize this at all until recently, that there are virtual assistants who never pick up the phone and talk to their clients, and they sell to clients and onboard new clients only via email. They never speak to them at all. This blew my mind that that is happening. And there's so many virtual assistants who are afraid of picking up that phone and having a real conversation.
Because it's not something that we would ever shy away from. Even
Mm.
me, who doesn't. My natural
Oh, so
habitat is not the phone. Let's be honest.
yeah.
But yeah, come on. You can't hide behind your keyboards all the time.
Mm. No. Yeah, picking
Shocking.
up the phone is there's so many benefits to picking up the phone. We have a whole episode on it, but you've got to pick up that phone. It's so important. Build those relationships. Don't just leave the clients out in the abyss wondering and assuming things.
And wasn't there was because as you said, there's been a few different episodes that we've talked about the importance of picking up the phone. And I
Mm.
think it was a recent episode where it must have come up in conversation. And after that, we had virtual assistants reach out to us and saying, as soon as that episode was finished, I literally picked up the phone to call XXX client because I realized I hadn't spoken to them in months.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, and I got more work out of them, and it was
Mm.
obvious that they really appreciated me reaching out to check in this way.
Mm.
Like, it works.
Yeah, we take our clients for granted, don't we? And we just assume that everything's fine, and when everything is ticking along fine, we just don't communicate with them.
Yeah, yeah. That would have been the
Terrible
episode.
habit.
It's cost you 5 times more.
Mm.
So that's what we
Yes.
talked about. It costs you 5 times more to find and onboard a new client than it does to really nurture those existing clients that are already
Mm.
want to work with you and are already paying you.
Yep. Yep.
Pick up the phone. Pick up the
Yep.
phone. Right, we've got 2 more on our list. Our final 2 biggest aha moments that we've picked up on and learnt from in the podcast. So my last one, it shook me. It shook me to find out that one of the most downloaded, most popular episodes, I think this year in 2022, was episode 95, The Silver Bullet.
Mm.
Amazing at the number of downloads that this particular episode has received. So for the learning for us there was that so many of you want the silver bullet that doesn't exist.
Mm. We
Why?
do. We want things fast. We want things fast and easy, don't we?
Which I guess is natural. Like if I
Mm.
think about it, like not being judgmental. Yeah, I mean, fast and easy. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And in that episode, we talk about how there is no silver bullet, and it does take stepping outside your comfort zone and taking the action and doing the things.
yeah.
It's not easy.
It's not
It's
easy.
simple. It's not easy.
The other aha moment we got from that particular episode and figuring out that so many people want the silver bullet was like we learned a lot about titles, about
Yeah.
what we call each episode is actually really important. The
Mhm.
wording that you use. So if you were to take that learning with your emails that you send out, whether it's to your clients or behalf of clients who have newsletters and you want to
Mhm.
get your kind of open rates up, you need to think about what you call them, what the subject is, what the title is. Same with blog posts.
Yep.
Because we
It
could
doesn't
have
matter
called
how.
that we could have called that there's no silver bullet in business. And there is no way that would have
Mm.
got as many clicks and downloads as the silver bullet.
Yeah.
Is
'Cause
that
it doesn't matter how good the podcast episode is, how good the email is, how good the blog post is. It only matters how good the subject line is, because that is the thing that's gonna get people to read it.
yeah, I guess is it kinda clickbaity?
Oh, totally. Totally.
Sorry guys for
Yeah.
being clickbaity on that. You would have all been very disappointed to learn that there's no silver bullet.
All right, our final one, our final aha moment from all of the episodes so far is that there are really talented virtual assistants out there who are so good at what they do. And some of them just don't make it because of that lack of confidence in selling.
Yes, you can come across so well face to face. You can talk to anybody. Your skills and experience are second to none. You've been an EA or you've been a designer or whatever services that you're offering, you could have been doing it for a decade plus and doing it really, really well in the past. But if you don't have the confidence to show your value to leads, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good your skills are.
Mm-hmm. And we've in the members club this month, nailing your sales is our theme. And it has been really eye-opening how many virtual assistants lack the confidence in selling what they have to offer
Mm.
and understanding how to structure that in a discovery call, how to ask for the sale, process to go through, and the prep and planning to do so that you can have a great discovery call. In the members club, it's been very cool to see those who have taken us up on a challenge this month and had a practice discovery call with us, and all 4 of them did incredibly well.
Ah,
And it has been such awesome learning for everyone in there, because we just know how important it is to be able to sell. And there are a lot of talented virtual assistants out there, and you listening may also struggle with this, that you have all the talents for the services that you're offering, but that lack of confidence in selling, it just holds you back. And we don't want to
mm,
see you going back to your 9 to 5. So if that is something that you are struggling with, jump on over into the members club, check out what it's all about. The recordings that we have for those discovery calls, those practices are in there available for you to watch. And all of the content that we have about your sales script, how to structure those discovery calls, and how to get confident in selling is right there waiting for you. So we'd love to see you there. We want to see you succeed. We want to see you be a successful virtual assistant.
yeah, we sure do. That's it. That is our biggest surprising aha moments from the podcast in almost 3 years. But we wanna know yours, especially those listeners that tune in every single week. What have
Mm.
your aha moments be? Reach out and let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to know. And if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, we would love for you to provide us with a review. So jump on down and pop that in there. Those who are listening on Spotify, you can give us a rating on Spotify now. So we would love that, and we would love to hear what you think of the podcast. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Sam and Joe VA Show. If you'd like to find out more, head to the VA Foundry website to check out the Members Club and the amazing resources, training, and coaching.
You can find us at thevafoundry.com.